Hey, welcome to Watchmen Waiting on the Lord. It's Sunday. I think today is the 3rd still. No, it's the 4th now, but this video is about deception. And there's quite a few things I want to say in this. I feel better right now. I've been dealing with kidney stones. And thank you for the prayers. I've been having to change my diet, like cut my sugar in half. I only eat like 10 grams of sugar a day. I probably have to get rid of that. Found something to try to combat the stones that I didn't think I'd be able to tolerate, but I can. So this should eat the stones. And I passed like 8. I'm not kidding. I'm just prone to them, so that's what I've been dealing with. But I'm fighting it, and so I guess we'll see what happens. I'm in the process of trying to change my whole diet, because living with kidney stones, you can't stay still. You're so irritable. It makes my thoughts race like 10,000 miles an hour. But now I feel pretty good. So I want to tell you something. Today's video is about deception. And before I get into that, you know, in my other videos I say, and I know this bothers born again Christians, people convicted of their sins. Remember that woman I said, you know, I recommended to go look at her video. She's like the archetype of a born again female Christian. She said the same thing. I don't like, and you've heard me express that I don't like when people make a video, donations. Even I have a problem with that, but someone wrote to me in an article I wrote that said you can't judge their heart. And if they're getting the message across and everything, it's not for me to judge that. But when people start selling merchandise and stuff like that, that's a whole different thing. I'm going to tell you, in my last videos, well, I've been saying this for quite some time to you, I said, you know, I don't like how people do that, sell their books. They always have their books out on a table or something like that. It should be all about God. But I've been trying to, I'm trying to develop a business. I'm not selling myself, okay? Just keep listening. Of helping people with with chronic pain, with acute pain, terminal cancer, all types of stuff. And I'm not going to leave a link. I'm not going to leave anything. But I said that about 2 videos ago. And I made a video and it was about 40 minutes long. And I said that in there. If anyone needs assistance, help, all that type of stuff. So I put a link to it. And when I was finished, I went to upload my video and it wouldn't upload. I'm like, 40 minutes is a lot. It's difficult to speak. I have a lot of pain. I can't believe this is happening, you know, like, God, what's going on? And so I realized that the likelihood is that because I was trying to sell myself, even though I was trying to help people. So I was kind of a hypocrite right there. So that happened, and just me mentioning it again makes me wonder if it's going to fail again. If it does, it does. So anyways, that's kind of funny. I believe it was God. My videos don't fail to upload. It's never happened before. I've had somewhat of a good and bad day. You know, things happen in your life. My sink here clogged. I put Drano in it, and it got worse. It made it like twice as worse. It actually clogged it, but I found out how to unclog it and stuff, and I'm going to talk about something that has to do with that around the end of this. Pardon me, I'm going to take a sip. I'm really out of breath because I felt like I go on a walk twice a day. And where I live in an apartment building, people throw out like furniture and stuff like that, and I found a huge like a cherry table, and it's like a really nice one, and I had to put it on a cart, and I brought it up here anyways. It's very nice. I'll probably sell it, possibly keep it. Give me a second. It was like upside down, and I had to put a cart beside it. It weighs like 120 pounds, and it was on a nail, and you know, I'm by myself and I can't lift with adhesive arachnoiditis in my spine, and so I got a whole bunch of scratches on it, but I'll try to fix that and then sell it. Deception. I haven't said this before, and I'm going to say this. I saw a comment in my last video, and there's people who follow my videos, okay? I'm well aware there are people out there that aren't good people, okay? They're not. They are Romans 1 people, okay? And Trucker, I forget your handle name, but it's Trucker, US Trucker, something like that. I prayed for your brother, and I hope your brothers or whatever, that they come to a knowledge of Christ, and I pray for my brothers every day. If you would like me to pray for you, or do like a prayer by email or something like that, I'll leave an email address. It's my work email address, but I'll leave it at the end. I will do like prayer requests. I don't know if you want me to say it in the next video. It doesn't matter, right, as long as I pray for you, so I'm willing to do that. That there's people out there, Romans 1 people, please read Romans 1. Just know that there are people that, I'm well aware that people who speak in my videos may all be false IDs. I know that, so this kind of stuff has been going on ever since I started making videos, like years ago, when I started coming out of my fog of physical illness. Okay, avoid the deception by making good choices. I remember talking to someone over my channel here. Sorry about my oven too, I'm about to put some fish in it. More than a year ago, I was discussing some channels I watched, which I won't name. He said, that channel isn't doing you any favors. And it was due to maybe something else too, but pre-tribulation rapture belief, and he was right. It wasn't doing me any favors, but I recognize that it runs much deeper, and I need to protect myself from all the deceptions if possible. I don't have it out for pre-tribulation rapture believers because I was once, and it doesn't mean you're not saved. I subscribe to a lot of Christian channels because most of my life is about God. It helps me through my day with pain and mental anguish. I deal with both. We were told specifically not to be deceived, and you should know by now that Jesus' Matthew 24 warning is here and now. It got extremely serious after the invasion of Ukraine in the news in a way never seen before, because it's the first major war with electronics and social media. Misinformation and fact-checking is a lie, and probably, I won't go further, you know, right? Look who's behind them. Sorry, I'm so dehydrated, I gotta get a drink. It was tough bringing that table up here. Pardon me. That's only one aspect of this. Be careful who you follow and listen to. The last woman I recommended in my last video is due to purity and of the truth of God. If what they say doesn't match the Bible, shut it off. I'm keen to follow purity and the truth of God only. I know who's lying because I've read both Bibles more than enough to know what I'm dealing with. Some go to fantasy, some twist verses or outright say it wasn't meant that way, and others are outright antichrist. I'm out of breath, guys, today. Like false prophets, of which I can name more than a few. I've written articles on these people. Recently, I've stopped keeping up with the news at least half as frequently because it was, and they're really bad right now, by the way, false prophets. Because it was troubling my mind and soul. Ignorance is bliss? In this case, yes. That's why Paul says, we are not in darkness, and we won't be overtaken or surprised in that day. Excuse me. Will any of the latest news truly surprise you? We know what's coming. The verse of 1,000 will fall on my right and 10,000 on my left comes to mind when all these pestilences and storms are approaching us. While people who write bad things in videos wax worse and worse. Keep your belief system intact because Jesus' warning to us was of power, meaning a powerful deception is coming that's strong enough to deceive the elect. How can we stand? The white lung syndrome is coming. It's these diseases and other end-time sufferings that we shouldn't ignore, but don't you think it's smart to stay in the Word of God? So when you hear all these things, don't let it scare you. Try not to. I was an inch from going to university, but I did an honest assessment and I didn't want to get caught in school with half or full-time studies while the world around me crumbled. I wanted the time to see and experience it without a weight on me. I understand fully that a believer cannot stop his life, but I feel this is it. All Christians know there's something wrong, like never ever before in history. Though they don't always say that, they do, but not like this. Look at what's happening. Yes, many generations have thought that way, but look, this is different due to converging signs never before, with daily threats of nuclear annihilation. Just look right now, there's like drone attacks on ships in the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, just like right now. That was only causing me anxiety with 4 pain, suicide diseases, and mental health issues. How does that help me in my journey? All it takes to confuse a believer of God is someone who has good theology in a video but twists 1 or 2 things to his own personal beliefs, and not, let's just say they happen to be gay, right? Then their belief will be like, oh, I didn't mean that, but he did. That twists 1 or 2 things to his own personal beliefs and not of that which God has said. I know there are hundreds of places in Scripture that I wish didn't exist, but they do because God does things for reasons we cannot discern. For instance, when God led the Israelites out of Egypt, he didn't give the land of Canaan so soon because the sins of the Amorites hadn't reached full measure yet. People move away from God because they think that it's ethnic cleansing. Did you hear what I just said? Their sin hadn't reached its full capacity. God obviously gives us all a chance, but those people were evil beyond measure. Is it any different when the Jews' sin reached to heaven? God destroyed them. He did the same as he did to the Canaanites, except not completely. He left remnants. God obviously gives us all a chance, but those people who were evil beyond measure were. So how long were the Canaanites there before God decided to do that? God destroyed them, but only saved so many. When countries like the US reach a point of no return, would you as a believer have it be evil like what Lot endured, which vexed his soul day and night? So where we're living right now. No, the angels came and rescued him and destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. When you read both Bibles with faith, you start to recognize how long-suffering God is and how loving he is. So much so that I cry when I read certain scriptures. You know why? Because I feel sorry for God. I do. Pardon me a second again. I'm so dehydrated. Are there times you felt sorry for God? Like when you see that, you know, I wish to help you, but you won't listen, you won't hear. Take for instance, and I wanted to know why God required 70 years of Sabbath rest. I only just recently discovered why. Why 70 years? I knew the math, but it couldn't possibly be that they missed all of the 7th year rest of Sabbath in the land of Israel. Could it be? Yes. Really. All of the kings didn't keep the 7th year of rest. You know, I read the Bible for, you know, some of my life before, and 4 years straight, and I've read Kings you know, a number of times, but I didn't realize none of them kept the 7th year. I believe it was after Solomon, because it's not recorded like David and Solomon, but it's all the kings after that. Can you imagine? That's like, just listen to this. Leviticus 25, 1-7. But the 7th year the land will take a Sabbath of complete and total rest, a Sabbath to God. You will not sow your fields or prune your vineyards. Don't reap what grows of itself. You know, like I think they said it would go to the poor or something, and the beasts of the field. Don't harvest the grapes of your untended vines. The land gets a year of complete and total rest. As I was coming to the end of 2 Chronicles, in reading about Josiah, which is near the end of 2 Chronicles, Hilkiah the priest found the book of the law of Moses, and it was read to the king, and he in turn read it to everyone in Israel. He recognized how much wrath was about to be poured on Israel, but God told him that because he set his heart to God, to know his way, he wouldn't see the wrath, and he died by the hand of Necho, king of Egypt, in a battle, even though Necho said, I'm speaking for God, don't come up against me, and he really was speaking for God, and then he got shot. I think it was like with an arrow, but anyways, he didn't see tribulation. So God endured 500 years of Israel, Judah being lawless, and people say he's unfair. I feel for God, I really do. What I'm pertaining to when you see videos isn't when a common mistake is made, because the most versed pastors make mistakes, but when people have good theology but have only one or two of their beliefs, because they can't accept what they read. It screws people up. I'll be as honest as I can. I have a lot of pain, and it's a lonely feeling. The internet has assisted me in distracting me from that pain for 6 years. When I have, sorry, I'm not well. It's so hard to speak right now. When I have quiet, sometimes I feel like I'm going nuts. Like when everything's quiet. Like now, I'm experiencing 2 years of on and off kidney colic, and it sucks. It may have to do with my gallbladder, what Moderna did to me. Gallbladder issues cause stones, but I'm not completely sure. My mind races from the irritability of the stones. I set my heart to God now for 4 years, with about 3 of them listening to videos, while I go about my day, and learning throughout the day, also reading the Bible. As time went on with COVID, then Ukraine, I watched as the deception from both drew people away from what matters and tore relationships apart. That's what these elites want. I felt so much hope when the signs just kept pouring in, and they still are. I found the more I knew about certain wars and battles, politicians doing this or that, the borders wide open. By the way, there's 4 million people coming towards the border. The news is all bad. What happens to a person when they listen, all they listen to is bad news. It stresses the mind, and you fall in line with what they want you to think and know. The solution: don't give up on reading headlines, but keep busy in life, and don't let those things bother you unless you happen to be in that news story. If they come to get me, then they do. If the economy dies, so be it. I can't change that. The internet is a beast. Or a beast. It's not the beast, but it's a beast system. I believe the Earth beast is the United States. Turn off the internet. A good idea is to go about your day with hope and turn on the news or YouTube at the end of your night. Unless you go about your day and it's like a wholesome video that teaches you things, or it's like music, stay close to God that way. If you want to know why the beast of the earth is the US, ask me and I'll share why. Do you doubt it? They cause wars everywhere they go, and they have over 800 bases across the world. I'll tell you what I think and why. You see all the countries of the world gaining power and threatening each other. You see generals like Douglas MacGregor saying the US can't do anything if it comes to it. I disagree. Yes, they are purposely military degraded with that LGBTQ and Generation Z. But they have recently changed their advertisements for the military Marines away from drag queens because they know they need people now. I can see a draft coming, and they have a giant population to draw from. Pardon me again. I'm not trying to scare you either. If it comes to it, they will force people into shape. You'll see, because that's what the military does. It's not the men I'm talking about, though. It's the weapons. I believe in my heart, and from all the things of the weapon systems I've learned about, from the multi-trillion dollars over 50 years that they can create earthquakes. You heard me, that's what I believe. And they have lasers. 7 countries have admitted to having it. And I'll never understand why people can't take that seriously about earthquakes. They can create sonic booms in the earth, and they can direct them. I'll finish this off by telling you a story. Around 2011, I was really sick, and I couldn't walk because I didn't know that the answer lay in my spinal canal. Like, it's called adhesive arachnoiditis. It's a spinal inflammation and scarring in the spine. And even with an MRI, even with like, if a doctor looked at it, they wouldn't see it. A specialist only would identify it. I had other pain disorders too that were undiagnosed at that time. My pain physician did me a big favor and called around everywhere to get me in for a ketamine treatment, and it was my first one. It took everything just to travel. It was like maybe 100 kilometers. An old Chinese woman, God bless her soul, about 80 years old, put the intravenous wires in my veins that could hardly get a vein. Boy, was that ever hard in those days. And sat in her office with me while I lay on a stretcher. I wasn't eating and barely drinking even 200 milliliters of water a day. I did that for years. Nothing could relieve my pain to that point. It was horrendous. No more than 20 seconds after letting the ketamine flow, like they undo that hold on the wire, my pain went to a level maybe 1. I wasn't educated about what ketamine was, let alone intravenous. I wasn't told it was a dissociative drug, and it was common to dissociate and go into dreamlike states, which I did. Suddenly I found myself crying because the pain had left me for the first time in many years. My thoughts were constantly shifting with this. Then I entered into a vision, I presume. I'm not positive whether it was a vision or a scary dream because I hadn't experienced this before. Most don't go through this, but my state was so relaxed, I was going in and out of consciousness on the stretcher. I don't know how to explain this properly because it came within a few minutes. And it happened so quickly. I saw the United States in my mind, or a dream, and I had spent from 2008 to about 2011 around 3 full years of constant learning, like just on a couch bound, documentaries, and also reading about war. I saw the US going from country to country, invading one after the other, and dominating the globe to the point where I was fully convinced it was going to happen, and it frightened me. And the pain doctor had to come up to the stretcher and reassure me that it was okay. They have to inject also in there benzodiazepines while they do it, so you don't freak out. Since that time, I maybe had 10 more of those treatments, but none reflected that. I had to stop it because it wasn't working beyond one day, and because I have PTSD, CPTSD. CPTSD is what I believe I have. I haven't gone for that, but I know why. The dissociation was making me uneasy. It isn't recommended for someone who has PTSD, but they do use it in PTSD treatments. Some people, it's the worst things you can give them because you can thrust them into an episode of a flashback and dissociation. It shocked me to learn who the beast of the earth is because I had that vision. That's my belief system. I believe they're the beast of the earth. You can read Revelation. I thought to myself, how is it possible that the US, with the strongest country that's ever been of all countries, isn't in the Bible? And they seem to be in everything. By name it isn't, but by revelation they are in the book of Revelation. They're an extension of Rome. Just look at the structures of Washington and Rome. The obelisks, the buildings. Ask yourself, do you want the world to do you watch the world do you want to watch the world crumble in real time? Can you imagine what it's doing to kids who all have internet access? Stay in the Word or do projects like I do. Have a project going every single day. It helps you learn and become more independent, like fixing your home, like Like, I know how to fix a kitchen clog now. Become more independent by learning. Like fixing your home and becoming handy. I'm even sewing now. It's a handy skill. Like when, I'm not going to say that. I was trying to be funny. I will not say that. Learn a skill every day and read the Bible. YouTube is very valuable in teaching things. The Chinese only allow those types of videos for their youth, but they kill us with theirs, and it does end up in death in many cases. Try to limit your time watching garbage for your soul. Like the people you choose to associate with, you tend to reflect them in certain ways. If you do that with video games, time wasting, YouTube, like Mr. Beast, you become that. You start to hope in dopamine hits. That's everything. I'm not well. Like I was well at the beginning of this, but it's so hard to speak. I can't speak in my stomach, and I don't know, like it must be dehydration at the same time. I get really dehydrated when I speak. Again, I take prayer requests, and again, Trucker, I'll say another prayer for your brother or brothers to come to Christ. Thanks for watching this video today. Late video.